Good morning, students. Let's start our new lesson, that is lesson number 1.5, the coastal plains and islands. Before starting our lesson, you should know what is coastal plains. So come to the map. Here you can see India border line, that is known as coastline of India, and the area between the ghats, that is here western ghat is there and here eastern ghat is there. So area between the sea and the ghats are known as the coastal plains. And you know that Indian coastal line is about 7,000 kilometers. We have long coastline. Now let's start our lesson with Indian peninsula. A peninsula is an area of land that projects far into the sea. The southern plateau of the Indian peninsula is almost like a triangle. Its eastern and western sides goes on narrowing towards the south. It is surrounded by the sea from three sides. Thus, in its shape, the southern plateau forms a peninsula. That is why the Deccan Plateau is known as the Indian Peninsula also. So, peninsula is an area of land that projects far into the sea. Means, peninsula is an area of land covered with sea from three sides. So, come to the map. You can see here all the three sides you are having the sea, Arabian Sea, Bay of Bengal. Now here that is Indian Ocean, that is covered with sea, all the three sides, and it is almost like a triangle. And eastern and western sides, this is your west side, western sides and the eastern sides coming close towards the south, or we can say narrowing towards the south, and it is surrounded by sea, that I told now. All the three sides, from three sides it is surrounded by the sea. In its shape, it is almost like a triangle. That is why Deccan Plateau is also known as the Indian Peninsula. Now come to the next paragraph. On the eastern and western sides of the Indian Peninsula, there are narrow coastal plains, they are the western coastal plains and the eastern coastal plain. So here you can see on the eastern and the western side of the Indian Peninsula, this is your eastern side and this is your western side. Okay, there are narrow coastal plains. Here you can see narrow coastal plain, this part, black part, that is your narrow coastal plains. They are called the western coastal plain. This is your western coastal plain and this is your eastern coastal plain. Like ghats, we studied in previous lesson, like ghats on east and west are known as eastern and the western ghats. Similarly, there are coastal plain on the east and the west side known as the eastern coastal plain and the western coastal plain. Now, the western coastal plain lies between the western ghats and the Arabian Sea. The eastern coastal plains lies between the eastern ghats and the Bay of Bengal. These plains are narrow strips of land broken at places by hills. These hills come right up to the sea like huge walls. So, the western coastal plains, here in the map you can see, it lies between the Arabian Sea and here Western Ghat is there. This is your Western Ghats here. So, that is lies in between the Western Ghats and the Arabian Sea. And these plains, that is the western and the eastern coastal plain, are narrow strips of land. Narrow means it is not a broad land, it is narrow and broken by hills. Here this and the eastern coastal plains lies between Bay of Bengal and the eastern Ghats. And these hills come right up to the sea like huge wall. Okay, now the western coastal plain. The western coastal plains runs from the Gulf of Kutch in the western India to Kanyakumari in the south. It can be divided into three parts: the Gujarat coast, the Konkan coast and the Malabar coast. So, here you can see in the map, this is your western coastal plain, and this strip run along the Arabian Sea. Here Arabian Sea is there, this full is Arabian Sea. So this strip run along with the Arabian Sea on the west. And same way, the eastern coastal plain run along the Bay of Bengal in the east, like that. And the western coastal plains run from the Gulf of Kutch. Here you can see Gulf of Kutch is there. From Gulf of Kutch to Kanyakumari, from here to Kanyakumari, in the south, and it is a narrow plain between the Western Ghats and the Arabian Sea, and it is close to the sea. You can see here in the map. Here Arabian Sea is there and here Western Ghats is there, and it is close to the sea. Here it is close to the sea, it is not very far. Okay, and we read in the previous chapter that it is a narrow, and it consists of three sections: Gujarat Coast, Konkan Coast and Malabar Coast. So let's start our first part, the Gujarat Coast. The Gujarat Coast is the broadest part of the western coastal plain. It lies between the Gulf of Kutch and the Gulf of Khambat. A narrow strip of the sea going deep into land is called a gulf. The soil of this area is very fertile. The people here grow cotton, groundnut and tobacco. Ahmedabad is an important city of this region. It is famous for its textile industry, handicraft, blackwood carving, pottery and jewelry. Gujarat coast is the broadest part of the western coastal plain. See, you can see here that it is the broadest part of the western coastal plain, and it is bordered by Rajasthan here, Dadar and Nagar Haveli, and Daman and Diu to the south, and Madhya Pradesh to the east, and Arabian Sea to the west. And you know that capital of Gujarat is Gandhinagar, and Ahmedabad is the largest and important city of Gujarat Coast. You know that it lies between Gujarat Coast lies between Gulf of Kutch and Gulf of Khambat. Now you should know what do you mean by Gulf. Gulf is a part of sea almost surrounded by the land. Let me show you the picture of Gulf. See, you can see here it is a part of sea almost surrounded by land. Here this is sea, Gulf of Kutch, and here this is your Gulf of Khambat, and here you can see here almost surrounded by land. Here also it is almost surrounded by land. That is the meaning of Gulf, that it is a part of sea almost surrounded by land. So it lies between the Gulf of Kutch and the Gulf of Khambat. And soil of this area is very fertile, and people here grow cotton, groundnut, tobacco. And just now I told you Ahmedabad is an important city of this region, and it is famous for its textile industry. You know what do you mean by textile? That is related to clothes, handicrafts, blackwood carving, pottery and jewelry. Okay, blackwood carving means it is a skill of carving wood to make an ornaments or functional objects. Pottery means skills of making pots, dishes from clay. And handicraft, you all means related to sewing and all. It is activity that need skill with the hand. That is about the Gujarat coast. Now come to the Konkan coast. The plain lying to the south of the Gulf of Khambat up to Goa is known as the Konkan coast. Mumbai is the important town on this coast. It is the biggest seaport of India. The city is known for its film industry, textile industry and engineering industry. Many oil fields have been found off the Mumbai coast. They are known as Mumbai High. Very close to Mumbai is the town of Trombay. It is known for Bhabha Atomic Research Center. The hills on the Konkan coast reach up to the sea. Big and high towers have been built on these hills. These towers serve as lighthouses. They warn the ships to keep away from the rocks hidden in water. So, Konkan coast. Konkan coast is rugged section of the western coastline of India. Here you can see the Konkan coast. This is your Konkan coast here. So it lies to the south of Gulf of Khambat. Here you can see Gulf of Khambat, to the south of Gulf of Khambat up to Goa. Little bit Karnataka part is also here in this Konkan coast, and here Mumbai is the important town on this coast. It is the biggest seaport of India. We have many seaports like Cochin, Chennai, here Mumbai, Kolkata, but Mumbai is the biggest seaport of India. And you all know that this city is known for its film industry, textile industry, and engineering industry. Just now I told you about the textile. What do you mean by textile? And engineering industry. That is the industrial complex of the greater Mumbai. That is a primary economic focus of this region. And many oil fields have been found of the Mumbai coast. Coastal area is there, and here you will find the oil fields. Many oil fields you will find in this area, and they are known as Mumbai High. That is very close to Mumbai. Is the town of Trombay, and it is known for Bhabha Atomic Research Center. And in this hill of the Konkan coast reach up to the sea. The hills, whatever the hills are there in the Konkan coast, that reach up to the sea, that is the Arabian Sea. And here in this big and high towers have been built, and these towers serve as lighthouse. As here full water is there, you know that it is used for the hydroelectric, and these towers serve as a lighthouse, and they warm the ships to keep away from the rocks hidden in water. The lighthouses, they warn the ship. They are giving warning from the danger, that whatever the rocks hidden in the water, they are keeping safe from that rocks. And the main crops are rice, pulses, vegetables, fruits, coconuts, fishing, and in this area salt manufacture is also important. Okay, so that's all for today. Thank you.